Hey buddy, watch this.
Hello, Regis Kilbin is the name, and Hearthstone is the game, and welcome to the Advice Arena, where I give you advice on playing in Arena. This time around, we are starting a brand new run. I have selected Rogue as my class, both because I enjoy it and it's one of the strongest Arena classes. And as you may notice, we're using the Hearth Arena Companion app once more to help me draft and make some drafting decisions. Now, typically I will still offer insights about why I'm picking things, but it's nice to have the Hearth Arena Companion app to back up my choices and provide you guys with some additional insights into what kind of the experts or the community at large might suggest. Sometimes I'll follow Hearth Arena's advice against my own wishes. Sometimes I'll ignore it if I feel really strongly about a given pick, but this is still pretty new, so let us know how you feel about Hearth Arena as a draft companion, and if you think it does help the videos, in fact, be more educational for you. So let's jump right into the draft, starting off with the first pick here. Hearth Arena pretty clearly suggests SI7 Agent as our choice, and I couldn't agree more. That combo can be pretty devastating in Arena against your opponents when it works, and sometimes, of course, you might just have to play SI7 as a 3-mana 3/3, which isn't the best thing in the world, but it's not the worst either. So fair card from a vanilla standpoint, but a lot of upside thanks to that combo. Of course, Secret Keeper is awful for Rogue in particular because you don't have secrets to play, so it's always just a 1-mana 1/2. Mana Addict is pretty risky as well. You don't often guarantee any spell casts that early in the game, so it's usually a 1/3 on 2 and stays that way for a long time, so it's not going to trade up effectively. You're not playing off any crazy combos. It's a very inconsistent and unreliable card, making this a pretty easy selection. Up next, pretty poor set of cards. Murloc Raider, actually not that bad. Sometimes 2 1s on 1 can get you off to a good start and stall out your opponent's turn 2 and really allow you to snowball the board control on your turn 2 and turn 3. But Murloc Raider is one of the worst 1-mana 2/1s because there's really no side effect. You might have some Murloc synergies, but that's really unpredictable. Shield Bearer is really quite bad in my opinion. Just doesn't attack at all, right? So it just dies for free. Occasionally you can stall your opponents or preserve a really valuable thing, but that's so hard to pull off, and the overall value of this card is so low that it really thins out your deck and causes problems. Direwolf Alpha is not really my favorite minion, but it is definitely the best choice here. Hearth Arena certainly agrees. Can establish some trade-up value. If you've got a 3-attack thing and you need to kill a 4-health thing, Direwolf Alpha can enable that, but it's not that good on turn 2. Because it dies to 2/3s and leaves them alive, and it trades evenly with 3/2s, but that's only half the time, right? So half the time it loses, half the time it's neutral. So that's not any upside on a card like this on turn 2, but it does get better later in the game. So it's not the worst thing to have, just not the best either. It can enable some beast synergies. Here I think we'll take Betrayal. I'm sure Hearth Arena will definitely agree. Maiden of the Lake is just too low of an attack power for 4 mana. So if you play her on 4, you can get a cheaper hero power, but it's not that impactful, and she dies pretty easily to various things. Nerebar Weblord, same problem really. It's low attack. The high health is pretty irrelevant on turn 2 when it's not killing anything anyway. And sometimes that battle cry can impact us just as much as our opponents. Betrayal, on the other hand, pretty solid area of effect removal spell. Not exactly area of effect, of course, but typically will kill 2 things, or can kill 2 things, or set up some favorable trades, which for 2 mana can be pretty powerful. Oh, interesting. Pretty cool set of cards here. Nightblade, weak, super weak actually, just terrible stats for its cost, and the battlecry doesn't impact the board at all, so it very rarely matters because you're fighting for tempo and board control in Arena. You're not trying to kill your opponent outright on turn 5. So Nightblade's effect is really wasted, which means the body is pretty poor. These are both fantastic cards. Fairy Dragon I actually like a little more than Hearth Arena. It's a turn 2 card that can really disrupt your opponents, and sometimes they can't ping it off, they can't cast spells on it. A lot of mages might rely on a turn 2 Frostbolt to clear a minion, and this shuts that down. It's just an interesting little card that can cause friction for your opponents, and it's a 2-drop. But I agree, Undercity Valiant is better. Similar stats, but an active ping combo like that can be very valuable. So this is the little cousin of the SI7 agent, basically. Not quite as good as SI7 agent, but still a pretty powerful card. And 2-drops, of course, are great in Arena. Here, I think it's going to be a toss-up between these two. Since we already have one Betrayal, it looks like Hearth Arena is suggesting the Gilblin Stalker, which I agree with. Core Hound is just awful. The 5 health is way too susceptible to attacks, and you rarely need 9 attack anyway. So it's an expensive card that dies easily. It's not a good combo. I still like Betrayal, but again, we have one, and we'll need other kinds of true AoE removal if we want to be successful, like Dark Iron Skulker or Fan of Knives. So Gilblin Stalker, although not the best card in the world, is just a solid 2-drop. And turn 2 is really the most important turn in Arena still. And this one will fit. Stealth can work well with Rogue too. Tomb Pillager's really good, but all these are great. Jeez. Man, I like all 3 of these cards so much. This is a tough choice. Bladed Cultist. It's not the best turn 1 card, but there's a lot of scenarios where you can have like a turn 3 Gilblin Stalker into Bladed Cultist, which could be fantastic. You get 2 2/3s for 3, which is really, really good. That's like a 4/6 for 3 mana. It can also set up combos because it's a 1-mana card, and we already have 2 pretty good combo cards, so that's a relevant concern. And 2/3 for 1 is just great. It's like an old zombie chow, but no downside. Nerubian Prophet is also really good. It's just a high-tempo card. If you get in your opening hand, it can be a 3-mana 4/4. Eventually, it can be a 0-mana 4/4, which can really help you swing a board. Tomb Pillager is just a pure value 4-drop. Good stats for 4 mana. Trades up into a lot of stuff well, but doesn't usually die to 3-drops. So it's in a good spot as far as stats are concerned. And of course, the Death Rattle can set up combos as and help you play bigger stuff faster. I honestly, I would have a nightmare of a time picking, so I'm glad Hearth Arena is here to suggest the Tomb Pillager. I like it because we don't have 4s yet, and we don't really know what kind of late game cards we're going to have. And the coin is good with 2 cards that we know about already, so let's go ahead and take the Tomb Pillager and see what happens. I like Shadow Pan Rider here. Sinister Strike's the same problem as the 5-mana 4/4 that does 3 damage to the enemy hero. We just don't care about 3 damage to the enemy hero. It's just awful. We need to contest the board and have cards that impact the board. Stone Splinter Trog is a fine 2-drop. It's kind of just like Gilblin Stalker, right? Has an upside. It's got okay stats. It's a totally reasonable card, but not strong outright. It doesn't win you games. But Shadow Pan Rider is potentially a very, very good card. 6/7 for 5 is nuts, and honestly, even a 3/7 for 5 is not bad. 3 attack will kill a lot of stuff in Arena, so some good upside, good default stats as well. Nice meaty health total, and a cool looking card because it's a panda. So I totally agree with Hearth Arena here. Bluegill Warrior is what I'm. Oh man, really? Duskboar's bad, right? This outright, it's terrible. It just dies way too easily to everything, including pings. The attack usually doesn't matter on turn 2, so you're kind of just throwing out a minion that's no different than a 2/3 or a 3/2, but way more susceptible to dying. I actually like Bluegill Warrior. I'm a little higher on Bluegill Warrior than Hearth Arena. I think it's just a good way to do 2 damage. It's a backstab and a can, a more expensive one, of course, but it's a good removal option. Sometimes you can just play it as a minion too. Works nicely with Direwolf Alpha, as pointed out here. But Hearth Arena likes Cold Blood. I mean, Cold Blood is good with Gilblin Stalker, admittedly. It's actually even good with Betrayal. It's not mentioned as a synergy here, but you can use this on enemy minions, which means even if they put a weak minion in the middle, you can Cold Blood it up and then use Betrayal to kill bigger stuff. So I guess between the Betrayal synergy, the Gilblin Stalker synergy, I guess we'll pick Cold Blood here, even though, man, it sure is close between these 2 cards. I would lean towards Bluegill if it wasn't for Hearth Arena. This is pretty tough. These are all very middling cards. Okay. The logic here is Gurubashi Berserker is a slightly better card, but we need a 3-drop, and Dancing Swords meets that need. I'm not actually sure Gurubashi Berserker is a better card, particularly in Rogue, who can have trouble activating its Enrage. Sometimes it just doesn't trade very well or dies to Stampeding Kodos, all kinds of stuff, Shadow Word Pain. So I think I like Dancing Swords better anyway, regardless of the curve considerations. I just think 4/4 on 3 is pretty valuable, and usually giving your opponent a card is not that big of a downside because it's more about winning the board than it is winning the card advantage battle. I agree, Spawn of N'Zoth is the weakest option here. It's hard to guarantee that Death Rattle effect goes off. Your opponents can usually just kill it in a way that negates the Death Rattle. Of course, if it goes off, it's really strong, but as a 2/2, it's just too susceptible on 3. It dies to 2-drops that are 2/3s. Like, it's just a weak turn. I'd rather contest the board with Dancing Swords, so we'll take Dancing Swords here. This looks pretty good. And Hearth Arena agrees that the Corrupted Healbot is the best choice here. Just raw stats are valuable in Arena. Again, we're not worried about killing our opponent outright, so the Death Rattle is not punishing here. Cold Light Seer, pretty weak stats for 3. We don't have Murlocs, so there's no like crazy synergies happening, and we're not likely to get Murlocs, so that's not going to be a thing. Eater of Secrets, bad stats for 4-drop. You're very rarely going to actually eat Secrets, it's so inconsistent. And if you have to play this on 4, it's a 2/4. It's a pretty terrible card. So both of these are quite subpar, and Corrupted Healbot's a decent card, so pretty easy choice. Eviscerate's obvious here. Murloc Raider we already talked about, just not strong. Young Dragonhawk's even worse. You don't have Wind Fury on defense, so your opponents can just ping this off, trade into it. It's totally useless. It's just a bad card. And Eviscerate's a fantastic card. Great removal option. Damage to the face if you need it. Just a lot of flexibility. Fan of Knives looks pretty here. They still like Bladed Cultist better, though. Intriguing. So I like Fan of Knives. It just allows you to clean up the opponent's board. It's surprising how much stuff has 1 health. But between cards like Fan of Knives, your Hero Power, stuff like your combo pings with Undercity Valiant SI7, there's usually a lot of ways to just piece together the right numbers to kill your opponent's board. Plus it draws you a card. Let's see what this says. Normally I'd pick Fan of Knives, and although we don't really want too many combo cards, in this situation I would suggest you pick Bladed Cultist because it has great synergy with our deck. It doesn't exactly explain what that synergy is. I think it's suggesting it's cheap, so it activates early game combos, and we probably have a pretty low curve right now. So it likes Bladed Cultist because we're playing the game a little more aggressively. Fan of Knives is a slower resource advantage type card, so it thinks Bladed Cultist fits better. I can buy into that logic, and I do want to give Hearth Arena the benefit of the doubt here. Eldritch Horror, I agree, is just terrible. It's a really big investment, and it has trouble trading into boards effectively because it can only attack 1 small minion at a time. So if your opponent plays 5 or 6 small things, they can kind of just ignore your Eldritch Horror and run through your face and kill you. Unlike Bog Creeper, which has Taunt, so trades much better and has very similar stats. So Eldritch Horror is really just the weaker cousin of the Bog Creeper. We'll take the Bladed Cultist. I think it's a great card, don't get me wrong. It's not normally what I would choose, though. I would take Fan of Knives if it was up to me. Ugh, this is bad. Corehound's still terrible. Gnomeregan Infantry is also terrible. Same problem we saw with other cards. Really low attack power, even though it has Charge and Taunt. Like, that doesn't make up for the fact that it can't actually kill anything. It's not bad, honestly, with Cold Blood, but that's never going to happen. Like, you can't ever guarantee that combo. And even if you do, if you think about it, it's still just a 5/4 for 4 mana. So it's like a Tomb Pillager. Granted, it has Charge, but I mean, it's not like it's outrageously insane with that combo. So not good. Corehound is terrible. Lord of the Arena is a big body and a taunt. It's not a good one, as you can see here from their tier score. It would be much better if it was a 5/6, but even then, not the best stats. So we'll take it, but we're not happy about it. We do have some nice big minions here, but Defender Vargas looks pretty good here to me. Curious if they give Emperor Cobra the edge. No, they agree. Emperor Cobra's good, is why I said I wonder if they give it the edge. It's a good card. You know, it's a 2/3, which doesn't sound great, but anything that attacks it will die. So it sort of kind of has an infinite attack value right now. It doesn't really operate that way, but it can be a high friction card that causes your opponent to hesitate and doubt and make non-efficient, non-optimal plays. So it has a place in Arena. But Defender of Argus is just really good. Taunts are valuable sometimes. The stat buff is good. Even the body's not that awful when you consider the stats, right? But essentially you get a total of 4 or 5 in stats for 4 mana if it buffs 2 things, plus 2 of those stats actually have charge. In other words, they immediately impact the board and can be used instantly. It's pretty good with stuff like Gilblin Stalker if we can keep it on the board. A lot of these littler minions. I don't know why it's good with Tomb Pillager in particular, but I mean, these synergies are a little odd specifically, but we do have some cheap minions we could play it out on the same turn with, so it's the best choice. Bloodsail Corsair is just pretty weak. Removing its ability is fine, but the stats aren't good. You'd rather have Acidic Swamp boost, so not worth it. Undercity Valiant is the choice here. Narrow Bar is still just too inconsistent and punishing. We don't actually have that much Battlecry, but you never really know what we're going to draft, and you don't want to be limited by a weak card, just hoping to disrupt your opponent. Shadow Step's really hard to work with, right? You don't typically want to pull stuff off the board in Arena because you're really fighting and scraping to hold onto the board, so you have to have really powerful Battlecry effects to make this worth it, and we don't have any yet, right? We have some good combo effects too, but they're just not swingy enough to make the 0 cost card worth it. Undercity Valiant's a fantastic card altogether, good 2-mana card, so there's really no reason to hesitate there. Fan of Knives has to be the choice here. Yeah, okay. So I'm glad we got another Fan of Knives to make up for the one we lost the last time. Duskboar is still bad. Dredge Corsair is not awful in Rogue. You do have a weapon always, so it's usually a 3 mana 3/3, excuse me. So that's sort of okay, and it's a taunt, so it's kind of like a Ironfur Grizzly or something. But it's a pirate, so there's occasional pirate synergies. Sometimes it gets even cheaper if you have like Deadly Poison or something. Or some sort of minion buffed weapon effect, but still not as good as Fan of Knives. Fan of Knives is great, just clean stuff up. I think the Bluegill will get the edge here. I don't know, Fairy Dragon's good too though. Lowly Squire. I would not pick Lowly Squire. I guess it wants to activate some combo effects. I'm a little concerned our curve's too fast. So okay, normally I'd pick Fairy Dragon, and although Fairy Dragon is better as an early drop, in this situation, I would suggest you pick Lowly Squire because it has some synergy with our deck. I think it's saying combo synergies, right? But the problem is like if I play this on 1, I'm never going to want to Inspire on turn 2 because we have a lot of good 2-drops. I mean, we don't have a ton of combo activators, I guess. I still like Bluegill Warrior more than Hearth Arena does. I think this card ends up working out a lot. I'm going to follow the advice here. We're going to try to play a Hearth Arena draft. I like these two better, though, frankly. I'm kind of a wash on these two. I mentioned I like Fairy Dragon pretty well. I also like Bluegill pretty well. Their tier scores are relatively within 7 points, so makes sense. All these cards are similar, though, so let's go ahead and listen to the advice. Piloted Shredder is obvious. It's amazing. And we need some 4-drops, like value 4-drops. So Pilot Shredder's best Arena card ever. Not quite, but it's very good. Venture Co. I don't hate, but pretty risky. We don't have a ton of late game cards, so it kind of makes sense. We could play 2-drops after it and stuff, but kind of risky to go all in on something like this that's not that strong at 6 health. And it can really disrupt your future turns. Assassin's Blade, I like a little better than Hearth Arena, but still. Pretty slow card, can be really risky with your health total, and 3 attacks not always enough to kill stuff after turn 5, so you end up running into stuff like Boulder Fist Ogres and sending in a Tomb Pillager and your face to kill a Boulder Fist Ogre, and that feels pretty bad. So hard to extract late game value out of that, so Piloted Shredder is the obvious choice here. Shadow Strike's pretty good. I like all these cards okay. Shadow Strike's just such a good, clean, efficient removal. So much stuff has 5 or less health, and removing it for 3 mana can be a very big swing. Spellbreaker's okay. It's a solid minion. I mean, it trades up okay, and silences usually get some sort of value in Arena, whether it's silencing a taunt or a Death Rattle minion. Usually you find a way to use that. And we even have some stuff that we can, some negative synergies that we could silence off, as pointed out here. Healbot and Dancing Swords, that'd be cool. Infested Tauren, It's okay as far as stats are concerned, but unfortunately its stats don't trade that well. In other words, a 4/5 can kill both halves of Infested Tauren without dying itself, even though this is also a total of 4/5 in stats. So hard to make this thing trade efficiently, but Shadow Strike's just too good to pass up. Knife Juggler's pretty good. So we'll take the Knife Juggler here. Pretty clear decision as far as Hearth Arena is concerned. Master of Disguise, I don't hate. It's hard to get a ton of value out of it, but a 4/4 for 4 is not the worst thing ever. You'd, of course, rather have a 4/5 or 5/4, but it's not going to cost you games, and sometimes that stealth can make a big difference if you need to stealth a high attack, high value minion, particularly with stuff like Cold Blood, Dragon Egg's sort of okay. We actually have a lot of ways to activate this thing. It's normally not this good. You can see Hearth Arena agrees, it's normally a 28, but because we have so many activators, all of our ping effects, Dire Wolf, Cold Blood, Defender of Argus, all the things to give it attack power, it's bumped all the way up to 61. I don't know if I've ever seen that before. But it makes a ton of sense, but still not better than Knife Juggler. Knife Juggler can be a big play, particularly when you have this many cheap cards to play. Knife Juggler could make some big ping effects, so easy choice. Ugh. These are awful. Ugh. I don't want any of these. Still terrible. Pretty bad stats for a 3-drop. People usually just run through it, and the Enrage doesn't ever get to go off. Maiden of the Lake, still bad. Doesn't kill anything. It's kind of a 5-drop, I guess. We can... Maiden of the Lake Hero Power, sort of good. If it was up to me, I'd probably pick the Tauren Warrior here, just to have another taunt. We have Defender of Argus, Lord of the Arena for taunts right now. But again, we'll go with Hearth Arena. I think Maiden of the Lake's just a little better. Huh. Shadowcaster's pretty intriguing. I think I like this. Recombobulator though, huh? I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, Recombobulator's a good card, don't get me wrong. I like it pretty well. Looking at the synergies here, don't really know that those make a ton of sense. It's basically saying, why is Undercity Valiant a Recombobulator choice? That doesn't seem sensible at all to me. Corrupted Healbot makes sense. You can remove the downside after attacking with it. Defender of Argus, you can upgrade it into a higher statted minion. Those things make sense. SI7 Agent doesn't make sense. Dancing Swords kind of makes sense. You can remove the downside. I get all that. But I don't know. We don't have a ton of big stuff to heal or turn into legendaries, so I don't see that angle. It is a 3/2 for 2, which is fine. Cogmaster's Wrench, way too unreliable, right? We don't have mechs, or I guess we have 1, maybe 2. But still, too unreliable. It's just rarely ever going to go off. Pretty high cost, low efficiency card. I like Shadowcaster a little better here. I don't know. I mean, we don't have a ton of stuff that's good with it, I guess. Tomb Pillager's okay. Piloted Shredder's is pretty good. Well, we really don't have anything good with it, honestly. That's true. Normally this could be better, but we don't have that many cards that that work with it, that would benefit from having a 1/1 version of themselves. Defender of Argus would be pretty good. SI7 Agent would be decent, as would the Valiants, I guess. Would turn the Valiant into an Elven Archer almost. But, I don't know, I guess we'll go with Hearth Arena. It's pretty confident here. That's a pretty big difference, so I'm curious how it... Oh, Bog Creeper's wonderful. Love me some Bog Creeper. Huh! That's a higher tier score than I'd give Dragonhawk Rider. It does make sense. Maiden of the Lake makes their hero power cheaper. I can see it, but I don't really like it still. Pretty weak to me. It's usually just a 3/3 again. You just don't have Wind Fury on defense, and this Wind Fury is even more conditional, so it's hard to work. And usually it just means you get 3 attack to the face, and then you trade into something, and then this dies. So it's kind of like Inspire, deal 3 damage to the enemy hero. Venture Mercenary, same stuff applies. Again, not bad at all, but Not better than Bog Creeper. Bog Creeper is one of the best arena cards in the game. Just a huge body, a taunt, finishes off recurve. We need maybe one or two more big... Oh, yes. I was going to say we need maybe one or two more big guys, and Bog Creeper is perfect. Cogmaster, again, we have some mechs, but just way too hard to pull off. Inconsistent. Sinister Strike we've talked about. It's just terrible. So Bog Creeper's an easy choice here. Sprint. I like it. I was going to say I'm a little worried about card draw. Because, you know, we have a good early curve that we're going to burn through cards. But we might need some mechanism to get back into the game later. We have Fan of Knives, and that's really it. But since we've gotten a couple of nice big drops, we can actually maybe contest a late game. Get a Bog Creeper down, sprint the following turn. Although Raging Organ's kind of intriguing too, just because we have so many ping-type cards. Cogmaster's still bad. We could, you know, play this and ping it with, you know, Undercity Valiant or SI7 even. And make a pretty scary dude, but it has the same problem, the Wind Fury thing. You know, usually it's attack face and then kill a minion, so it's kind of like just deal 4 damage to the enemy's face as its effect, which isn't that good. But with like Cold Blood and stuff, it could be crazy, right? We could have like a 16 damage Raging Organ at some point, but that's going to be hard to pull off. So I think I agree with Hearth Arena here. Sprint. Although not probably the best card for our deck, makes sense. And then another Piloted Shredder is going to be wonderful. Wind Fury, same problems as always here with Wind Fury Harpy. It's a Chillwind Yeti 95% of the time. And even when you get the Wind Fury off, it might help you clear 2 minions instead of 1. But you're spending some mana to accomplish that, and it's just usually not worth it as far as efficiency is concerned. I still like Bluegill, but it's not better than another Piloted Shredder, which is just a fantastic op. Pretty intriguing. I might have to pass on Hearth Arena here. Fin Creeper has bad synergy with our deck. How is that possible? I don't understand that. Tinkers is hard to get value out of, right? It's sometimes hard to get a minion. It's pretty expensive to cast. Using your face twice can be pretty hurtful. 4 damage is a good amount to have on a weapon, but 5 damage would be substantially better. So just a little bit awkward. Doesn't work that well most of the time. I am a little torn here. Hearth Arena likes Anubar Ambusher more than I do. I think this Death Rattle can be really punishing from a tempo standpoint. If they're able to kill this and remove another minion, it can totally cost you the game. And it's not like oppressive enough as a 4-mana 5/5. That to me it's worth that risk of a downside. This is saying it can pull back some cool minions for us. But I'm actually going to turn away from Hearth Arena here and take the Fin Creeper. We kind of have a taunt game going in the late game. We have some high value stuff we might want to protect with taunts, like cold-blooded minions and knife jugglers and all that stuff. The tier score is objectively better here, and these supposed synergies are so unlikely to occur that and so low impact even if they did, that it's just not worth it to me. I cannot in good conscience take this card. I'm going to diverge into the Fin Creeper instead. Bladed Cultist looks good here. Mogashan, same problem that we've discussed numerous times. Low attack. The high health is irrelevant if it can't ever kill anything. So again, even with like a Cold Blood, right, it'd be a 5/7 for 4 mana, for 5 mana, which isn't that good. That's the same as our Shadow Pan Rider, right? It's worse than our Shadow Pan Rider. It has taunt, but we have a lot of taunts. Twisted Organ I like. It's a good card. It's just a good 2-drop that's hard for opponents to deal with, and you can trade up pretty efficiently sometimes. But Bladed Cultist can be really good. We could have like a coin, Bladed Cultist, Bladed Cultist start that would be ridiculous. And we have some combos that are relevant too, so low-cost cards make sense. I kind of like the Pit Snake here. Yeah. Hearth Arena agrees. Wind Fury, same problem as every other Wind Fury we've discussed. Thrallmir's just not good. I still am not high on the Anabar. As far as 4-drops are concerned, we have 3 really good board presence 4-drops and a couple other kind of flexible options, so I think we're okay there. And Pit Snake, it's just a good early drop. It can really create friction with your opponents, kind of like the Emperor Cobra. Same stuff we discussed there. And if they don't have a ping effect, it's a guaranteed kill on turn 2 to whatever they play, and can also create problems in the late game, deny them for playing like a big minion. I think Saboteur probably here? I don't know. Yeah. Arcane Golem got so much worse with the nerf, right? It's just, you can't give your opponent a mana crystal just to gain an extra attack. It's not worth it. It's not that oppressive. The mana crystal is way worse than the card they might draw from Dancing Swords, right? It just gives them so much power. It's giving them Druid ramp for free. Grim Patron could be good, but we don't have a way to activate it, right? We're not a mage. We can't spawn multiple 2s. We actually do have some ways to activate it, I guess. But those are pretty inconsistent and would require us to like save up a 2-card combo. Saboteur is just really good stats for a 3-drop, trades up nicely, and that Battle Cry can be surprisingly impactful. If I played a Pit Snake and a Saboteur together, a mage would feel really bad about pinging off our Pit Snake for 7 mana, but also might not be able to play their Bog Creeper because they're scared it's going to die, right? So could be a pretty cool combo, along with just being a good 3-drop. And it looks like this is going to be our final card. So that's our draft. And we're going to close out of this Hearth Arena stuff here. We don't actually care about Hearth Arena tracking our stats too much. We mostly just want to use it as a draft assistant. And I don't know how to remove all this stuff just yet. There it goes. Okay, so I track my own stats separately if you're curious. There's going to be links to that in some videos in the future, but not quite yet. Anyway, this is our draft, and it's pretty, it's actually pretty good. I was a little worried early. We got some pretty terrible combos of 3 cards early on, but we have some high quality cards in here. Bladed Cultists are good. Got an Eviscerate, got a Knife Juggler, got some Valiants, got an SI7, got a couple Shredders, Tomb Pillager, Shadow Pan, a couple Bog Creepers are important. So it's not the best deck I've ever had, not as good as my last Rogue run probably, but it's still got some potential. I think this deck can do stuff. Betrayal, Fan and Eyes are good. I like this deck's chances. I think this could be a 7-win deck. So what are we going to call this deck is the real question. We do have 3 Creepers, so I think maybe we'll go ahead and call this the Creeper Rogue. Although Undercity Valiant's pretty good too. We could call it the Undercity Rogue or the Valiant Rogue. Yeah, actually I like that a little better. Between the Bladed Cultists, the Creepers don't really symbolize this deck. It's really more about the early game, I think. We have a lot of early game cards. So we'll call it the Valiant Rogue. That name is slightly superior. This is my Valiant Rogue run. And we're going to go ahead and jump into game 1 to see how it goes. The Valiant Rogue. I like that. That's got a nice ring to it. Hope the Valiant Rogue valiantly plays its way to 12 wins. That'd be fun. Sprint makes me a little nervous. The more I think about it, I'm not sure that we're going to have the time to sprint. But we could make a decent player like sprint into, SI7 late in the game and still contest the board and draw a lot of cards and crawl our way back into an unwinnable game. With Bog Creepers, you can do a lot. But I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of games where we just roll over opponents in the early game, thanks to stuff like Bladed Cultist. So we're going to be super greedy in our mulligans because we have so many 1s and 2 drops. I think we want to start every game with low drops. I can't even really play this right now, though. What a terrible hand. With all the stuff that we have, this has got to be like the worst hand. I think I'm going to save this. It's very unlikely to make an impact as a 1-2. It might help me kill a 2-drop with my weapon. Of course. It would have actually made a great impact. But it's okay. We can weapon anyway. We're not in a great spot, honestly. We don't have a lot of good cards. Where are our 2-drops? We have so many 2-drops. How did we not have a 2 on 2? 2-drop would still be good next turn, though, because we can Undercity... Bladed Cultist 2-drop. Looks like he has a 1-health thing he's hesitating to play. Oh, that's pretty good. Really, game. I may have to Shadow Strike that, but even then, I don't have a 4-drop to follow. I can actually just fan Wicked Knife, I guess. I'll have to save the Shadow Strike. I may need it next turn. Shadow Strike into Bladed Cultist could also be a pretty good turn. So that's clearly not the best Fan of Knives in history. But I needed a card, and I needed to kill that thing, so it worked out. This is just a really awkward start, but we're not in the worst position despite how terrible this start is. Because we have cards, we have a good play next turn, so... Pit Snake is not scary at all. We can, I mean, we're going to not be able to combo both of these, unfortunately, but we can still... Oh, that's not what I wanted. Hearthstone, stop freaking out, man. Could just weapon up, I guess. Weapon Undercity Valiant as a 2-drop. No, I still like this better. This is just better. Because next turn I can actually main the Lake weapon if I want to, and I don't really have a 5-drop. Could also Shadow Strike weapon. That's probably what's going to happen. He has a kill here, so we have a minion, but not a good one. Can't combo both guys. That's unfortunate. That's actually probably worth Shadow Striking, isn't it? Really need a good 2-drop here. It would make my life so much better. Man, our hand has just been so awkward. I'm just gonna play this out. Don't have to kill that, right? If it trades, I'm still getting a minion back. We've just had a terrible start. It's so awkward. He should probably trade this way. I don't know if he will, but I hope he doesn't because I can get a good defender here. Ooh, Explosive Shot's good. Oh, really, game? That's like the worst. Now I can't kill... Oh, thank you. That actually made a big difference. That's going to enable my Shadow Strike. Ooh. Yeah, I'll have to play that. I'm not actually going to get much value out of this combo, but... I don't really care about the face damage, but... Alright, so we're in a good spot because we got a Bog Creeper, and somehow, just him using his weapon and stuff, he's down to 23. Sort of good. Sort of. Not really, though. It's actually pretty terrible. So we'll just kill that and play the Bog Creeper. Deadly Shot could be pretty devastating, but I mean, you can't play around Deadly Shot, right? You have another big dude we can play if he does. This is actually a pretty intriguing combo, particularly with a 2-drop. A 3/7 taunt is kind of scary. I don't think he has the Deadly Shot. He would have went for it already. So that's good news. We're in a good spot if he can't kill this, obviously. I don't know how we kept up with the board there. Felt like we had a pretty terrible game. That's not very good. But I don't really have a great way to kill it either. So, oh, now I do. Thanks. Now I can just use my weapon to kill it. That's gonna help. It's also Eviscerate. Can go 6 to face, can't I? Yeah, I think I still like this better though. I'm a little worried about going down to 12 health, honestly. But I think I'm going to win the game pretty soon, so... We have 12 damage. This is 16 damage, 17 damage. Shouldn't take me more than 2 turns to win the game. This is actually even more damage, so... Oh my god. Not only did he get Chill Maw, but he actually... Seriously, game? So this is going to die no matter what. I cannot use my face, clearly. There's no way he has a dragon, though, right? He does not have a dragon. There's absolutely no way that this guy has a dragon. It's just not possible. He's got a dragon, guys. I don't know how, but by God, he has a dragon. Still got a pretty good board, though. What dragon does he have? My God, he already had Chill Maw. Give me a break. Bog Creeper too. Well, this is the world we live in now, I guess. That's probably lethal, right? How do I need to do this? I can take that to 7, 6. So I can kill it with my face and the Bog Creeper. This will attack for 3. This will attack for 2 is 5 plus 8 is 13. So it's not actually lethal yet. So I need to kill this pretty efficiently. I go 3 plus 4. I don't really have a good way to kill this. Jeez. Can attack. Use my first half of Eviscerate. I can attack, and I want these both to be taunts. So I'm probably not doing this the most efficient way possible, but I guess we'll give it to the bigger guy. So now I just have to survive this turn, and I probably win. But he has some kind of dragon. What could be Alexstrasza or something? Who knows? Probably like an Azure Drake, but who knows? There might have been a better way to do that turn, but between talking through it and... that's actually good. Not enough yet, but it's good. Good start. That's the dragon. Okay, so that's lethal. We just got lethal here. It's pretty nice. Close game, though, honestly. Man, that chill ball. What a jerk. Okay, so let's play one more. Good start. Scary hunter with crazy stuff. We had a terrible start, honestly, but I mean a good start to the run, if not quite a great start to that game. Okay, we can work with this. We'll send back the Betrayal, but these cards could be good. Wish we had the coin, but we don't. Little slow, Bog Creeper. I'm happy that you're there, but I wish you'd come in the background. Again, I don't think I want to play this on 1. It's even less likely to get value against Druid than unless he plays Living Roots, which he probably will now that I think about it. But weapon is still good. I have to, but likely just play this guy on its own. This is a pretty good combo, actually. He will feel compelled to hero power here, which means I have a 2-3 advantage out, which is nice. Now you have to play this next turn still, which isn't so nice, but this is a high friction turn. He really wants to hero power. Well, playing a 3-2 honestly wouldn't be that bad. Wrath is no different than the hero power, really, except he does get the card, which is pretty nice. Yeah, so we'll have to play this out just for the damage. Want to make sure we have good 5 attack on the board here to trade up and stuff. Probably have to Pilot a Trader next turn. Hopefully he doesn't play something like 4 health. 3 health would be vastly superior for us. Because otherwise we might have to send in both things. Could just go face too, though. It's a Druid, so they can have trouble dealing with multiple minions. Because I don't have a turn 5 right now, so Betrayal or my hero power could be pretty relevant on turn 5. So if he plays like a 3-4, I'd probably just ignore it, go face, let him trade into the 3-2, then whip it up to finish it off later. Knife Juggler. Okay. Okay. Big miss, actually. It's pretty good. So we'll go this route. We got a good 5-drop here, a good 7-drop. We don't have anything for 6 yet, but I'm sure we'll get there. We're in a good spot. He has more cards, but as long as we can apply a lot of pressure here and stay ahead. He just coined a 4-mana play, so... oh, he actually does have another 4-mana play. Nice. I'm going to ignore that. This trades very favorably into that, and I don't want to unleash that and have to trade, and who knows what it's going to be. It's not likely to punish us too much as Druid. He could play like a Druid of the Claw, but then I have 6 attack that can go into it. I could even Betray. My 6 mana turn is still not good. Need something. But this is pretty awkward for him. It even goes to 2, so it's like it's not great with swipe. I don't know what play he has here. Oh, wow, we did get punished. It's a mech druid. Okay. You gotta let those happen sometimes. I mean, God, who could have anticipated that? We can still trade up. Or Betray, actually, still good. Play something over here. Play a dude over here. Play him right over here. Play a dude. Play Millhouse Mana Storm over here. How good would that be? He's got a hero power. He doesn't have anything. He's gonna see what pops out. It's good for us. Really good for us, actually. We can trade. Oh, wow. He's gonna take 3 damage. Is he setting up a swipe? What's the deal? I guess he's setting up a swipe. We don't have a good play. Jeez, man. Betrayal doesn't help at all, so we're not gonna do that. Let's see what comes out of here first. Could be relevant. Oh, that's actually going to be pretty handy, I think. I'm going to have time to weapon again by the time I need it. Next turn, I will Bog Creeper and won't be able to weapon. So I can use it next turn and then weapon again on turn 8, probably. So I'm okay with attacking phase here. Put some pressure out. He's at, what do we have? We have 6, 9, 10 damage. That's not very good. He can't even hero power. That's good for us. I'm just gonna go face, I think, and it's kind of intriguing. Don't want to play that right now. So I might have given him a good trade here somehow, like swipe trade or something, I don't know. But still got 8 health. It's going to be hard to work with and deal with everything else too. So we're just applying a ton of pressure. It's not even a good trade, honestly, because it's 6 on 6, so. Yeah. Just pressured him out. Pretty good. Slow hand, clearly, from him. He's probably got like 3 Ironbark Protectors up there that were going to win him the game, but they're just a little too slow to make an impact, which is the risk of running a pretty slow deck. And we actually ended up with a nice curve, the Shredder into the Creeper, even though we had that weak turn 6, that stuff was just so oppressive that it worked out really nicely. Okay, so the Valiant Rogue is 2-0 so far. Great draft and, well, not a great draft. Let's say a good draft and a great start to this run. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, game on.